Fuzzy, we got to move on to the next topic, which, by the way, 3-Bit, I know you're in the chat, brother. It's great to see you here. Check your DM if you want to join us at 12:45 for the indie showcase. I sent you a link. It'd be me, Mav, Fuzzy, and yourself if you can join us. I do want to get into, of course, the big topic of the show, folks. And this one is exciting for me because there are a couple of points of contention worthy of a conversation here. Obviously, we've heard some things regarding what they're going to do, with Bethesda as a company, right? We know that they're going to continue with obviously Starfield is going to have an expansion supposedly this year. I would imagine we could look forward to that in September. I would even go far as to say, if that is ready to go, that we should see it in June, right? Well, we have a bunch of information here that comes the way of originally posted by Ecstasies. Now, Ecstasy, you've heard me mention his name multiple times. I know him personally. I'm a big fan of his work. He's been a guest multiple times on the show. When I tell you, folks, he is connected. Now, does he get everything right? No, none of us do. We get information. Sometimes we're allowed to divulge, and we do, and we get it wrong. And you know what we do as creators? We come out like men and be like, hey, listen, I said X, Y, and Z, and I was wrong. Information that was given to me, this is what I went with, and it wound up not being true. That happens. And like I said, it takes balls of steel to get in front of a camera and put yourself out there the same way it takes an inside source to give you that information to then put that out into the community. I'm sorry, it's not easy to do. And we do it, and sometimes we just get it wrong. Well, I'll be honest with you. Ecstasies gets it right way more than he gets it wrong. So, what have we heard, ladies and gentlemen? Well, apparently, the information coming from Ecstasies is that the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to take place in Hammerfell and High Rock. That is the two locations that are going to be mapped for this game that apparently, and this is where I have to back up Ecstasies. He has it in his write-up here that it should be releasing based on court documents and things that he has heard behind the scenes in 2026. Now, the reason why I can back him up is because through a separate person that I trust that has given me rock solid information, what I can talk about, he gave me two pieces, one of which blew my mind. Unfortunately, I can't reveal it and yet. Stand by, folks, because when I can, trust me, I'll be putting a video out. It's so big, I'll be doing actually a video to put it out there. But the other thing that he did tell me is that it could potentially, again, this is a rumor. He told me, take it as a rumor. This is what they have heard. We are going to get the first trailer for Elder Scrolls 6 this June. And that's exactly what Ecstasies heard from a separate source. Now, again, is it breaking any NDAs? No. Is it has people spoken about this before? Yes. This is what I've heard. I have not reached out to Ecstasies privately. I have in the past, not for this, because of where my source is. My source is rock solid. And they've gotten it right way more than they've gotten it wrong. So when they gave me these two pieces, one I could share, one I can't. One I can't, eventually I'll come back around to. But I have heard that we should potentially get the first reveal trailer this June. Not breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I've heard this before, but I just got a confirmation of it from a particular source that remains unnamed. But that's not the only information that we have, Fuzzy. Thanks to Ecstasy and his several sources, the game is going to be set, obviously, in Hammerfell and High Rock. It will be 12 to 13 main cities. That's how big this game is going to be. That's massive, right? I don't even know how the heck you can finish that game with 12 to 13 main cities. Does that mean there's going to be, like, side towns you could run into? Like, you know what? It's a Bethesda joint, so maybe. Various islands to explore. Underwater exploration, which sounds like super interesting. I mean, you're going to be able to hold your breath. You're going to be a merman or something. You can go swim underneath. That's crazy, right? Like I mean, I know you can do some swimming in Avowed, and I did find a charm that gives me not unlimited, but slows down my oxygen going away. I don't know if anyone else found that, but it's incredibly handy. Do not sell it. Apparently, according to Ecstasies, dragons, in fact, will return. To what extent, I don't know. I have potentially seen online that you might be able to mount these dragons at some point, which would be dope for, traversing these large maps. That would be kind of cool. Apparently, there are going to be naval battles in this. Shipbuilding inspired by Starfield. Fortress and village building inspired by Fallout. I don't like it. I'm not going to use that. I may build like a plank to kind of get the achievement, and after that, I'm not going to build anything. I didn't like the Fallout 4 buildings. I'm sorry. The progression system, according to Ecstasies, will be changed, abandoning classes for a more natural system. That's very interesting because I enjoy the classes, but I am going to say, after playing Avowed, I find it hard to pick a class and stay there, because I originally picked fighter and I went all wizard and I was able to respec. I hope they have that option. I think it really has to become the standard on letting the player choose their own path, even if that path changes at some point during the game, Fuzzy. So it goes on to say the game will be more immersive. It's going to have, this is cool, I like this, ladies and gentlemen, and it's probably because of the hardware, faster loading times. Yes, we're saved, right? The last 3 points of context are the game might be at the Xbox showcase and he said July. He meant June in 2025. The FTC leaks has the game set to release no earlier than 2026. And finally, and this is going to change as we get closer, but according to Ecstasies, and I heard this as well, the game has only been confirmed for both PC and Xbox so far. No confirmation for Switch 2 or PS5 Pro. Okay, that comes the way of Ecstasies. Fuzzy, this is big news. And it's big news, and I have some additional context, folks. So does anyone want to know how long they've been working on this game? I mean, and throw it in there, because we're in 2025, right? Mm-hmm. How long have they been working on this game? Well, interestingly enough, here's a tweet that I pulled from March 29th, 2019, ladies and gentlemen. Now, everyone knows who Skyrim grandma is, right? Like, that lady is freaking awesome. She's a grandma who plays Skyrim like that's her thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's her call to fame. Well, her name is Shirley Curry. And apparently, and this article comes the way of Kotaku, she has been scanned in. She is going to be an NPC in the Elder Scrolls 6. That was confirmed by Kotaku. But here's something that's very interesting. So Hazardor Gaming, one of the finest in the community, and he's up there with, of course, Clobriel is another fantastic member of the community. Nico Muller constantly putting stuff out there, as well as Okami13_. Amazing people that you should be following on Twitter, because they constantly talk about amazing gaming news. They don't use hate rhetoric and any of the stuff that they do. They just talk about gaming news. Well, Hazardor Gaming actually posted this last year, March 25th, 2024, more specifically. Now, on his particular tweet, it was that day happened to be the 30th anniversary of the Elder Scrolls franchise, and Bethesda shares an update to Elder Scrolls 6. And I don't know specifically who is this from. I believe it was from Todd Howard. He said, playing an early version of the game fills us with the same joy, excitement, and promise of adventure. Well, there you go, folks. They're playing an early build of Elder Scrolls 6. Now, mind you, from what I understand, development started for this well even before 2019. That means they've been working on the game for over 6 years. That 2026 release date actually might be a thing when you consider how long it's been in development.
I've kind of always been under the assumption that there was a team working on Elder Scrolls while they were mainly all hands on deck for Starfield. It's just that it wasn't in like a few people in the chat mentioned, it wasn't in full production. They always have kind of like a smaller team start things up as far as get the groundwork, work on some of the storyboards, work on some of the environments and sketches and stuff like that. Much like I'm pretty sure that there was stuff at least a year or two ago as far as for Fallout 5, kind of in scratch works kind of thing. Early prototypes and things like that. But to my understanding, even based on the leaks from when some of the stuff from the court case came out about what Bethesda's roadmap looked like, Elder Scrolls 6 was meant to be somewhere around 2 years after the release of Starfield. So they could still be on track with that, with a 2026 release, given a little bit extra time for polishing and whatnot. I would not be surprised if this thing is 2026, but considering you're hearing more and more, even though some of these things, they've been, talked about maybe a year or two ago. We're getting this ramp up of more leaks or more info about a game. And typically when you get that, that means the game is usually within 2 years, sometimes sooner, depending on how they're going to introduce us to it. I don't think we'll see it where, hey, it's at the June showcase and it winds up being released later this year. I don't think it's quite like what Bethesda would normally have done with their release cadence.
They actually did that with Fallout 4, if you remember. Like I was literally in the audience. That was, I believe, 2019, where they actually said, "Hey, listen, here's the trailer." And it's coming out 6 months later. Like that blew my mind. Like I couldn't believe it. But that was they don't do that very often though.
Yeah, I think now with Microsoft kind of being a little bit more hands off in the sense of giving them more time. It's like, you don't have to rush this out. There's no real quote unquote deadline. Yes, we would like to have it in this window, but if it takes more time to polish, I think Starfield is a perfect example. Did it release bug-free? No, but it's probably been Bethesda's least buggy game that they've ever released. And, considering, some of the updates and things since then, it's gone through a whole plethora of polishing, although it was pretty solid from the launch. So I would say when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6, I'm still on board for, let's say, fall of 2026, especially if GTA 6 winds up releasing in 25, but I still think that gets pushed to 26. I know they've made a statement that they're on track for 2025, but we'll see how all of that plays out. But yeah, Elder Scrolls 6, I think the big thing is, since that's using I forget the name of the engine, but it's like the version 2 of that engine. Well, Starfield was the main one doing that. Since they've already got that engine in place or updates to that engine from Starfield, then it makes it a little bit easier for the transition over to Elder Scrolls. So we'll see. Hopefully at the June showcase, full on trailer. I don't think we get the deep dive. Maybe we get the deep dive at the Xbox Developer Direct next February or next June or January, I should say. But I have to believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And now we're getting some more smoke signals about this game. It's probably closer than a lot of people think. And
the name of the engine is the Creation Engine 2, is what they use for Starfield, and what they apparently are going to use, or a modified version of it, more advanced version of it for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, so it makes the development time from Starfield to that a little less hectic. It's not like they have to, build it from scratch or do like what they did from Fallout 4 to Starfield, where that creation engine had to go through its glow up, I guess you could say, for Starfield. So I'm pretty confident we'll see something this year, and then hopefully next year we get a release date, possibly late in the year or close to holiday next year. So we'll see.